Hello there, boys and girls. Welcome to your reading mini lesson for the day. Good morning, good morning. I'm Mrs. Bran, and today we're going to be talking about, think about the books that you read and to share your thinking with others. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Mrs. Bran, I am at home learning with my brothers and sisters or by myself with an adult, and that's okay too, because the beautiful thing about reading is it doesn't matter who you share it with. You can share it with anyone around you. So this still applies to you, even if you're learning from home, okay? So here are some things you might think and talk about. So after you read a good book, okay, here are some things that you can think about to maybe talk to another friend about the story that you read, okay? So you could talk to that person and tell them how the characters remind you of other characters. So maybe you're reading a series, okay? Like say Elephant and Piggy, okay? Do you guys like those books by Mo Willems? Those are really good books. And maybe Elephant and Piggy remind you of another pair of best friends that you've read about before. So you could say to someone, hey, those remind me of whoever it was because, and maybe you could make that connection and you could talk to your friend about it and see if maybe they might have made that connection too. Another thing you can talk about when you're sharing your thoughts of reading with others is the problem of the story. Okay, so I'm going to share a book with you here in just a moment. And so the problem in my story is kind of silly. So that might make me want to say, oh my goodness, Mrs. Murphy, I read the funniest book. It had the silliest problem. Let me tell you about it. Okay, and so she would be like, oh yeah, let me hear, Bran, right? You also could talk about where the story takes place. Maybe it takes place on a deserted island, or maybe it takes place in the tower of a castle, or maybe it takes place in, I don't know, the jungle or someplace really cool like that. That's neat and interesting and that really grabs your attention for whatever reason. You could talk about that too. And then this is one of my favorite things. I like to talk about the illustrations because like we talked about earlier this week, the illustrator is the person who draws the pictures in the story. And so sometimes those people, well, many times those people are very talented and they make very interesting pictures. So we could talk about those or interesting or really funny parts. So like I said, this whole book that I'm getting ready to share with you, it has a lot of these things, but that's one of them. There's a lot of really funny parts in here, and that's why I would highly recommend this book, and that would make me want to talk about it with someone else. And last but not least, the ending. Okay, and a lot of times the way things end, sometimes it ends really well and it really wraps up the story. Other times it doesn't end really anything. It just kind of ends, and then you're left there and you're like, what? Which is exactly what this book does. So I wanted to share this book with you just for fun and just because I wanted to talk to you about this story, okay? So I'm going to scoot you over a little bit so I can be a little more comfier in my chair now that we're not looking at just the anchor chart. Okay, so the story I want to share with you today is This Is Not My Hat, and this is by John Clausen. And there's a couple of sequels to this book. So there's like additional stories like I Want My Hat Back. And I think there's another one. If you Google John Clausen, you will find him. And they are just as good as this one. So let's dive in, okay? So this is by John Clausen, and he is the author and the illustrator in this story. And this is actually a Caldecott award-winning book. So a lot of other people thought this story was really good. So let's check it out. You ready? Here's our title page. This is not my hat. This book is very simple. I love it. This is not my hat. I just stole it. Love the pictures. I stole it from a big fish. he was asleep when I did it. So look at his eyes. Big fish. And he probably won't wake up for a long time. Does it look like he's still asleep? Ruh-roh. And even if he does wake up, he probably won't notice that it's gone. Is that true? He knows it's gone, doesn't he? And even if he does notice that it's gone, he probably won't know it was me who took it. Look at his eyes. He's like, he knows something about me. And even if he does guess that it was me, he won't know where I'm going. Not so sure. But I will tell you where I'm going. I am going where all the plants grow big and tall and close together. It's very hard to see in there. Nobody will ever find me. And he's off. See the hat? There is someone who already saw me. But he said he wouldn't tell anyone which way that I went. So I'm not worried about that. Do you think you should be worried? Look at him. I know it's wrong to steal a hat. I know it doesn't belong to me, but I am still going to keep it. But it was too small for him to keep anyway. It fits me just right. And look, I made it. Where the plants are big and tall and close together. So he's gonna go in there. Look at his face. I knew I was gonna make it. Ooh, look at where the fish is. Compared to... Uh-oh. Nobody will ever find me. I don't know. Don't see anything, do you? Big fish came out. And that's the end of our story. So, what happened to the fish? So, I wanted to share this with you because this book has a lot of the reasons why I wanted to share with you. The ending, it just kind of ends, right? You're left to figure that out on your own. And there are interesting and funny parts, right? Like when the crab is like, and he's talking like, I don't have to worry. He said he wouldn't tell anyone, right? The problem is really funny. Okay, so thank you for listening. And I want you to think about the next time that you're reading a book, maybe why you might want to share it with someone else. And I highly encourage you to go find the book I Want My Hat Back by John lesson. Or maybe you could even YouTube it safely with an adult and see if you could find the story online. So let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.